Phase 2 of dehydrating these meals for camping and for nights when you're busy and you don't want to cook is actually creating leathers that will become the sauces for the meals. So they have to start out as a sauce before they can be a leather and then be returned to a sauce. These are just pureed tomatoes. Just put them in their hole with their seeds and everything. I'm working on a chili sauce. So there's a green tomato that went in with its red fellows. Whoops. And I'm adding some tomato sauce because that's going to make it a little bit thicker. And I'm also adding some chilies. These have already been seeded, and these are sweet peppers actually, so they're going to be, they're not going to add any heat. So we'll mix those up first in this blender. That should be good enough because we're going to have to do give another whirl. Okay, to make a chili sauce, I'm going to add about a generous teaspoon of garlic powder, a couple of tablespoons of this taco seasoning. So this has cumin, chili powder, onion bits. That's 1 tablespoon. As you can see, it does not need to be a precise measure. It's kind of to taste, however you like your chili sauce. I am going to add a little bit of heat by adding a few pepper flakes. And then I'm going to add some onion powder. I will also add some dehydrated onions, but this will give the sauce a really good flavor. There's a lot of salt in the taco seasoning mix, and so I'm probably going to not need any more salt. I will taste it after it's been blended. So just pour it on there. This is a fruit leather tray that came with the dehydrator. If you don't have one of these, you can dry it in your oven using a cookie sheet and a piece of parchment paper. You just put your oven on the lowest setting that you can. Probably 170 will be the lowest setting you can find, and that's about right anyway. So this is all smoothed out and an even depth. You can see it's about 1/4 of an inch thick all the way around. So that's going to be perfect. I'll put it over here on the dehydrator and do the second one on there in a minute. But I wanted to show you another leather that actually works really well, is just taking this green chili enchilada sauce and pouring it out on the tray and dehydrating it. I've tried both of these brands, the Las Palmas and the La Victoria. And the La Victoria is much thicker than the Las Palmas. It dehydrates into a much nicer sauce. I think they're diluting this one with a lot of water. So you want it to be a real even depth. Just shake it until it kind of evens out. That's all there is to that one. If you're making a teriyaki chicken, a dehydrated meal with teriyaki chicken, I've tried several different ways, and the best way to do it is to take a mild flavored fruit like peaches and season them up with the teriyaki seasonings: soy sauce, sugar, ginger, vinegar, and blend them up really well together until it has a really nice strong teriyaki flavor. And then dehydrate that on your leather tray, just like you would fruit leather or these other leathers that I'm showing you. I've tried doing it with just the ingredients that you ordinarily put in teriyaki sauce, and it didn't work very well. And so you need the carrier fruit. And in the final product, you can't taste the peaches at all. It just adds a little bit of sweetness, but teriyaki is really sweet. So that's what it is, and I'll show you what they look like when they're finished. This is all dry. I always look forward to this stage of the process. This is the tomato sauce or the chili sauce. And as you can see, it kind of separated into little islands, and that's because it had so much moisture in it. It would have a more leathery consistency, like fruit leather, if it had been if I'd used tomato paste instead of tomato sauce. So I can peel it up with my hands, but I think it's going to be just as fast to just pop it off with the spatula. And the thing that I need to remember is that this much represents 2 cups of the chili sauce, because I want to reconstitute it to about the same consistency that it went into the dehydrator. This little bit of green chili enchilada leather represents 2 cups of green chili sauce. So when I reconstitute it, I want to use the equivalent of 2 cups of water in order to reconstitute this particular sauce, plus whatever is needed for the other dehydrated foods that are in there. So, but there is one more thing I want to show you with this. When I set the dehydrator down, I tipped it a little bit, and so it kind of sloshed over to this side. Everything else is totally dry and almost crispy, or it is crispy, but right here I've got some wet spots, and that's too wet. That is too wet to put into storage, because it'll mold. So I'm going to take off anything that has any feeling of moisture at all of the damp stuff. And now I can peel up the rest of it. The green comes up a lot more readily because it was a thicker sauce to begin with. Dehydrated spaghetti sauce, and it turned out fantastic. If you're backpacking, it's super lightweight and it doesn't take up any space, but it's going to be fabulous on the trail.